America Tonight goes in depth now with a dramatic and sometimes disturbing therapy for PTSD. Though it is hard to watch, it's therapy that offers new hope to young victims of sexual assault. A 5-year study finds the intense treatment, which has also been used to help combat soldiers, is also making a difference for rape victims, even very young ones. America Tonight correspondent Lori Jane Gleehow was given rare access to the usually private therapy sessions.
He's kissing the inside of my leg. It feels so weird. It sucks. I don't want him to touch me.
This is a type of therapy for rape victims.
Like goo. Horrible, like I'm like laying in garbage.
It requires TYHIRA STOVALL to repeatedly recount the horrific experience that left her wondering whether she'd live to see another day.
I feel like I'm like in major danger. Like if I try to even fight back, I don't want him to touch me. Oh my God.
It may seem cruel at first glance.
Great job, TYHIRA. You can do this. I know it's hard.
In this video, she's 17 and remembering skipping school to hang out with her then boyfriend. He took her to his friend's house where another man she'd never met forced himself on her in a back room.
After the situation, I felt like it was my fault because I didn't fight. And I didn't want to, I didn't want to make it a big deal because I was like, I didn't fight back. Like, it's my fault. I should have fought. I should have did more.
TYHIRA had been an outgoing teenager, a dancer who loved school and snapping pictures with her friends, until the trauma of her rape took over her life.
You feel like a walking zombie. Like, you're just walking through life. And not even being able to, like, look at my parents. Not wanting to hug anyone. I couldn't even stand in a line, like at a store, and somebody stand behind me. I was uncomfortable. I couldn't look at my dad because he was like, he had the same look that the guy had was the same look that my dad has.
What does that do in your heart to know that you couldn't look at your dad?
When I did look at him, I looked at him in disgust. It was hard.
She stopped dancing, and I mean, she danced. She lost her dance. She lost her joy. Just became like a shell. And I remember I used to tell her I wanted to see her dance because I knew that would somehow, that's how she had to fight back. She needed to take her life back.
Everyday activities like going to school became almost impossible for TYHIRA. Her mother, JUANITA SOJOURNER, never knew what could trigger an emotional breakdown. She eventually started homeschooling her daughter.
I wanted to protect her. I've always wanted to protect her. I felt like I had failed.
TYHIRA was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. She tried various types of therapy, but was still suffering. JUANITA contacted a local rape crisis center where she met Dr. Sandy Capaldi, a clinical psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania, who recruited TYHIRA for a groundbreaking study of adolescent girls. TYHIRA would undergo a treatment called prolonged exposure therapy.
I feel like he's like dirty, like touching me. And I feel like I can't do anything from that point.
We have the adolescent tell the story of what happened to them repeatedly, over and over, throughout sessions.
It was kind of scary because I really didn't want to talk about it. Like, I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that I went through it. I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that it was called rape. I don't think I wanted to close my eyes, you know? Closing my eyes made it all too real. Push me down.
The therapy required TYHIRA to face her fears head on.
I didn't want to be in a room with the doors open at night. I really couldn't sleep.
Dr. Capaldi told her to sleep with her door open until it became less scary, and to visit places that made her anxious, like the house where she was raped, not far from her own home.
Could you have done this walk without the therapy?
Probably not. Like, I hated walking by myself.
If I can handle
Prolonged exposure therapy was developed more than 2 decades ago by renowned psychologist Dr. Edna Foa. She regularly teaches her methods to doctors from around the world during seminars like this.
We are going to push, not, gently.
It's widely used by the Department of Veterans Affairs for servicemen and women who suffer from PTSD. Research proves it's successful for most adults.
About 85% are being helped, but there are about, between 10 and 15% that are not helped. But we also know from studies that we've done that nobody got worse.
The study that TYHIRA was part of found it also helps teenagers. Published in the American Medical Association Journal, results show of the patients who received prolonged exposure therapy, 83% were cured of their PTSD diagnosis, compared with 54% who received traditional supportive counseling.
And I was outside, bent over a car, and he was having sex with me from behind.
America Tonight was allowed to observe this woman's ongoing therapy sessions. Typically, there can be as many as 16 sessions before a patient no longer has PTSD. We met her at the beginning of her treatment.
I don't know, I just get so uncomfortable.
Yeah. The patient asked us to protect her identity for safety reasons. She was a teenager when she was raped. She's now 21 years old. Dr. Emily MALCOUN has been working with her to confront her trauma.
What do you think is going to be the hardest thing for her to overcome?
I think anger. She told me she has a very hard time letting herself feel angry with people. And I think also letting herself feel the emotions.
In her first session, this patient talks about her rape in a mechanical way.
He's just standing there, just staring at me. And I'm just sort of in a panic, just saying no. No, my friends are out there, no.
Each time the patient repeats the story of her rape, her anxiety decreases. All her sessions are also recorded, and she has to listen to herself recounting her rape every day.
How hopeful are you that this patient will be successful with this type of treatment?
I am extremely hopeful. I can say I'm absolutely confident.
Several weeks later, we went back to observe another session. This time, Dr. MALCOUN pushed the patient to reveal more graphic details about her rape.
I could physically hear it. I could hear the friction. I can hear him heavy breathing, and then I can just hear me being like pushed against this car.
The patient says it's getting easier, and she's learning to reconnect with her emotions.
Is there anything that you would say is not working for you in this type of therapy so far?
So far, to be very honest, like there's haven't been a negative feeling towards this therapy. I mean, obviously, there's a big source of big feeling of uncomfortableness that comes with this therapy, but that means it's working.
Where do you want to be ultimately?
Where do I want to be? I want to be emotionally stable, not just be controlled by my PTSD.
It's a freedom TYHIRA STOVALL has achieved. Able to smile again, and laugh, and even dance.
She danced this thing. She took her life back. That thing, she took her life back.
And this move right here was just us like washing the shame off, washing the fear off, washing everything that I felt off. And in this moment, I claim myself as not being a victim, but like I am a rape survivor.
That is a victory. America Tonight's Lori Jane Gliah here. Tell us how these young women are doing now.
Yeah, well, TYHIRA has been able to find a lot of healthy relationships since she started her therapy, and she's actually happily pregnant right now, and she's about to graduate from college, so she's doing really well with her therapy. And then the other woman who went through the therapy, she had a few sessions since we last saw her, so I just checked in today with her doctor, who said that she's doing amazing When she started, she came in with a moderately severe level of PTSD and a clinically significant level of depression. But after 5 sessions, those have gone down so much that she's not even considered to meet the criteria for PTSD, and her depression has gone down by about 4 times. They say there's going to be a few more sessions to go. She's still dealing with some trauma issues, but it's been very successful for her as well.
And after only 5 sessions, now I have to ask though, it seems like this is a fairly traumatic experience. Just are there critics of it? Does anybody think it's a bad idea?
Yeah, well, we haven't been able to find a lot of vocal critics because there is so much evidence out there that shows that this type of therapy works. But still, there aren't a lot of doctors that are doing it yet. It requires some special training. They have to take classes to learn how to do this type of therapy. And also, there's been some arguments made that some therapists might find this a bit boring because it's the same thing over and over again, repeating the thing over and over again. And also, some of these doctors might not want to put their patient through this type of therapy because it does seem traumatic. It's supposed to be, you think of counseling as calming and soothing. But then again, if you avoid some of these issues, that's one of the things that contributes to PTSD lasting longer. So that's the argument to actually do this type of therapy.
And it isn't a first-line therapy. It's something that people have come to after trying other things.
Well, a lot of times, yeah, a lot of people have gone through other types of therapy too. So,
America Tonight's Lori Jane Gliha, thanks very much.